record this. Thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. And when I sent out the agenda, there was some comments there about the position of the communications officer and her role. And I have a secret to share. This is the best office to hold in IODE. And it's the most important role in your chapter. You're the one who gets to share the information about IODE, not just with your community, but with your chapter members, and get them excited about events coming up or items that you've already done and completed. So congratulations. Thank you for joining me. And that's a secret. I'm going to start off the meeting with sharing the annual report, and we'll go through that. Now, since I am sharing and recording, I will not be seeing your faces, so please jump in if you have a comment, a question, because I won't see any hands, and we'll start. So the report we'd like to have back by January the 31st. And you can email your report to your communications officer and to IODE Canada at the iode.cdn@gmail. And in Ontario, you will also mail a copy to your provincial secretary at the iodeontario@gmail.com email address. The IODE CDN Gmail email address, please do not save that in your address book. This email address is not monitored during the rest of the year very often, and we get messages on occasion that we can't answer in a timely manner. So please continue using the IODE Canada@bellnet.ca email address for all other communications. We still would like, I'm sure that the chapters represented today are going to fill in the report and send it in. But the chapters that are in your area that don't have a communications officer or don't want to bother filling in this report, we still would like the report filled in, and just as simple as ticking this part off that there's no report. That way we know that the report has been received, and we can check it off the list. If your chapter has an email address, a website, a Facebook account, and we forgot to change the name Twitter to X, but I think everybody knows what X is. It's formerly known as Twitter, and an Instagram account. If you have any of those social platforms, please let us know. So here we'd like you to fill in what your activities were in promoting the chapter. We don't need a long essay. Anything in point form is more than enough. And we can organize it from there. And your community partners. There's a chapter in it's the East Coast. I'm not too sure which chapter it is. I just saw recently they've got a Christmas house tour coming up, and they've got a fantastic community collaborator who promotes their house tour on their billboard. And a lot of municipalities will also broadcast your coming events. So any questions on page 1? I'm just speeding along here. Chapter histories. Recently, my chapter had celebrated its 70th anniversary, and as Jane was telling us earlier about the do you remember when type of thing. Um, these things are important to keep. I realized how important it was when I was researching for my chapter. Uh, we, I'm new to the chapter. I didn't know any of the history about it, so I went to the archives, dug it up, and I learned a lot about my new chapter. And someday somebody's going to look up to see what Grandma Renata had done, or great Grandma Renata, or maybe my great niece. Perhaps she's interested in learning more about family members who had been IODE members. If we don't record scrapbooks, excuse me, or in our minutes who the members are and what we've done, that history is not going to continue. And if we don't minute it and archive it, it's going to get lost. Also, when you do take your minutes and your scrapbooks and archives to wherever it is that it's stored, please let the provincial and the national chapter know. We do get inquiries from time to time looking for particular information about chapters, and then that way we can direct them to the correct location. Any comments?
Actually, this is to do with historical research. I've had a contact this week from Mary at National Office, and a gentleman wants to know his grandmother's history, what chapter she was in Edmonton. And to be honest with you, I don't even know where to start, other than I wondered if National would have lists of memberships way back into the 60s and 70s. As with no other information other than he gave me her name and her maiden name and roughly when she might have belonged to IOD in Edmonton.
Anybody have a comment?
I just have a question, and a comment. I know that we had a bunch of, like, storage has been an issue for our chapter, the Jesse F. Gordon in Vancouver. And so we contacted the Vancouver archives and we've given them a lot of our old scrapbooks and things like that. I don't know if you were aware, but working with Elizabeth Worcester on that, that's what we thought was the best place for them.
If you could just send a note to the national office and telling us not necessarily in detail what was taken to the Vancouver archives, but at least where it is and give some idea. Because that way, just like Valerie has, wants to know where such and such is, if you they can contact the national office and maybe we can give direction on where that information is. So anything would help, Stacy. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, it was kind of too bad. I mean, they were all just so, a lot of those old scrapbooks are beautiful, the work that's done and the old photos that they had. I was kind of sad to give them up, but without storage space, we sort of had to and thought it was the safest place for all of it. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, Valerie's the provincial archivist here, and I have taken chapter records to the provincial archives of Alberta. And I feel strongly, I've been trying to encourage chapters to get their stuff out of grandma's basement or wherever they happen to be and into the archives, because what happens, and I'm sure you all know about this, is that mom or grandma dies and there's this great box of IOD material and grandkids and the kids don't know what to do with it, so they pitch it.
Yeah, thank you. Helen, you wanted to say something? And then Nadine?
I was just going to say, we have to remember that the national chapter is now reduced to like an office about the size of most of our living rooms. And so they do not have storage, and they never did store the old members list and that. I found through IOD Ontario that I started making a database, and I've been working on it for about 10 years, and I have gone to the different archives, etc. And so people know to contact myself before they toss anything. At least I'm hoping they do. But those that database really comes in handy, even if you just use something like Excel and do one Excel sheet per chapter, listing the executive, and then on the back listing the members' names, and then putting in maybe what offices that the members held. It comes in very handy because I found that Ontario uses that when they send out letters of congratulations when they get the years of service awards and things like that. So if you do have the time, sometime contact me and I can help you go through it and set you up. But yes, it gives you an excuse to travel the province and go to all the different museums and archives, and it's a great experience looking at them.
Thanks, Helen. Nadine?
I'll be quick. Valerie, make sure that you find out from that man what his grandfather's first name was, because she probably wasn't called Cecilia Jones. She was probably called Joe Jones.
Yeah, I'll look at I'll look at his email again. I have actually contacted him directly by email so far, but I haven't had time to actually call him. Yes, because way back in the day, even when I joined in the 1970s, we were referred to as Mrs. C.R. Braden, Mrs. A.G. Young. We were all listed in our husbands' names.
Thanks, ladies. So IOD marketing materials, again, how you've used it, what you've used, if you can just put it in there in point forms. Business cards are great to have on hand if you're going into a business and asking for a donation. It shows that you are part of the organization, and it also gives the person that you're asking the donation from contact information, how to get in contact with you. Echoes. Echoes is the best PR tool as far as I'm concerned. It tells the whole story. It gives you an idea of who IODE is, what we do, and the impact that we do in our communities. We have older issues that are still sitting in the office. They may be old to us, but they're not old to someone new that has never seen it before. And it's a great resource tool. Again, it tells you that what IOD does, and a lot of us do the same things year after year when it comes to fundraising or promoting something, and it's a great tool. You can just contact the office. Unfortunately, at the moment, we've got all kinds of orders sitting there that can't be sent out due to the Canada Post strike, and Canada Post is going to be busy once they're back working again. Any comments or questions about marketing materials?
Renate, do you think that the national brochure could be on the website? So rather than just always ordering it through national, we could just download it?
We don't have a national brochure.
It's
The one I think you're referring to is from my predecessor, and we don't have the template for that.
okay.
So this may be something for the communications committee to think about.
Mm-hmm.
This
Thank you.
last part of the report, there's a bit of confusion on it. So that's why we've developed page 3. And these are suggested advertising values that can be used. We try to figure out from coast to coast, prices vary, and from community to community, prices vary. But so we've sort of just averaged everything out. So a newspaper article or a want ad, for instance, if you're putting that in, it's the value is there. It's $15 per inch, and there's a guideline there how to figure out what it is. If you've actually had to pay for it, that's different. But this is if you've got it in kind that they've put it in. Digital billboard, that's what I just spoke about with that chapter in the East Coast. Sometimes your municipality will have a billboard and advertise something. Could be IODE week, or it could be an event that you're hosting that that they'll promote. Some of our chapters are very fortunate and they get a spot on a local radio station or a local TV station, and one of their members goes in and is interviewed. And those time slots are priceless. But again, if you had to pay for it, there's a cost involved. This is what we value it at. Or if you're advertising, promoting one of your events, you can also use this. You can ask them what it's worth if you had to pay for it. For the website, I have only found this siteprice.org, and it gives you a valuation for your website. And the price and the cost, the value for a website is based on your domain name. It's based on the amount of traffic you get to the website and how long the visitors stay. For instance, comparing the iode.ca compared to Amazon. Amazon is looked at 24 hours a day by who knows how many people and who knows where they're from in North America. Their value is quite high, where iode.ca could be valued at, just a few $100s. We had one chapter last year, their website was valued at $1 million. And you wonder, how does that happen? Especially when it's a small website. And it's not a very active website. They don't update it very often. It's not used very much, but it's a .com, where the rest of us are a .ca. So .coms are valued quite high. And we adjusted it for that. Facebook, Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram. Again, those have a value when you have followers, and they come and they like your postings, and or they watch it. There's quite a few social media platforms used for the chapters with opportunity shops, and they can promote what their items are on special that week, or if they've got some new inventory in, or I know we've got an opportunity shop in out west with limited hours, so they usually post on there what their hours are. And again, for the amount of usage, everything, the world is based on dollars and cents. So this is the section where you talk to your treasurer about, and you find out what the actual cost was. For instance, a website, you have to pay for a domain name, so there's an expense for that. Perhaps you've got someone who maintains the website for you. There's a cost for that. So these are actual dollars that your chapter has spent, and that would go in here. Those freebies, those in-kind donations that you received, whether it's in newspapers or magazines, on the radio, you can use the evaluation sheet, or you can make up your own suggested value of it. Any questions on this section?
If your chapter is featured in a newspaper article, do you still look at the size of the article and evaluate that way?
I know the one you're talking about, Helen, because my chapter actually had one done too. And if you're unsure, talk to the publisher of that magazine and see what value they would put on it. Because it depends on how large of a publication it is,
Mhm.
you know, how many people it goes to. On that note, yeah, I do have them here. I know a lot of us don't know how to advertise or whatever. These are a couple of little free magazines that, you know, yeah, I either pick up or they're in the mailbox or that sort of thing. Get in touch, and whether you're in an urban area or rural area, everybody's got these free little magazines or free little newspapers. Get in touch with the publisher and ask them if they would be interested in an article about your chapter. And this is what Helen did in her community, and I did it in my community. If you write it, and they'll say yes or no, and if you're willing to write it up and send in like 2 or 3 pictures, they'll probably pick maybe they'll only pick one, maybe they'll take all 3, depends on how much space they've got. They will print up, probably 99% of the time, they'll write up your article. They just don't have the resources to have someone else send out and interview you. This way, you've got control of the narrative. You can make sure that IODE is spelled correctly without the periods, and we're not Imperial Daughters of the Empire, we're IODE. You can make sure that the mission statement's in there. You can make sure that the names of all the people in the photograph, their names are spelled right. So it's a good little
Mhm.
trick.
I have a second question, Renata.
Yes.
If your website is linked to another website, such as our website is linked to the town's website under organizations, is there any value given for that?
It's a website.
Okay.
It's a website. So the town has
Is it's just a link to
yeah,
ours?
if they're if I go on to the Petrolia's website, IODE, Margaret Stokes would be there.
Mhm.
Would that be an additional? I don't think so, because it's
Okay.
only one website.
Right. Okay.
Great collaboration. Stephanie,
I have a question. Where do the values go after we send them in as the primary, and then they go to provincial, then they go to national? How are those values used for IODE national? Are they part of the CRA report or?
I put them into the annual report that I write.
Right.
So the total value is there. I include the number of platforms that like chapters. Some chapters have multiple platforms, social platforms. So I list how many IODE Facebook pages there are,
Mhm.
or Twitter accounts, just like membership
Is it to give you
reports.
a sense of how the chapters are progressing with technology and the times, maybe? Or
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
okay, okay,
Well,
thanks.
and perhaps encourage chapters who may be intimidated or shy of using that type of resource, that it's simple enough, and you just need a couple of dedicated people to
Mhm.
do it.
I think that, there's some questions that come back and they're worried if they don't have the right numbers and all that kind of stuff. But it's more for tracking for national to see how we're adjusting to the new technologies. Thank you for that. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions? No. I thought I would just take you through the national website. And in case you don't know where certain things are, or if you have questions about the website. And again, you're going to have to just speak up because I definitely can't hear you or see you. I can hear you, but I can't see you because of the way the screen is set up. On the homepage of the national website, we've got all the signature programs that are supported by everyone, or the chapters, and with links that will take you directly to that page. And this is to help, visitors who are coming to the website. I've got notes here, and I better be looking at them while I'm so I don't miss anything. We've added on the 125th anniversary, a website page. And I'm going to start at the bottom of the page with this is a YouTube video that we found, and it was put together by the Niagara Falls Museum. And it's about the 9 chapters that used to be in that area. And they put in a group of, or they put together pictures and little videos, and it's a quite of an interesting video of the 9 chapters that were in that area and the impact that they had done in that community, of the work they'd done. And unfortunately, those chapters have retired. Now, this is a newspaper article. This fellow had gotten an award in high school, and it meant so much to him. And he's now a retired high school teacher. And he sent us in this impact story that we thought we would share. Another interesting article, and it comes from the Canadian Historical History magazine. And it's about a woman who was one of our first War Memorial Scholarship winners in the early 1920s. And she went on to become a scientist and did amazing things. This one is from IODE, Catherine McVean chapter in Dresden, Ontario. They're celebrating their 110th anniversary, the same time we are celebrating 125 years. And they did sponsored a plaque for the community park. And they've included the IODE 125th logo with it. So they have some great branding on there. So if you have an impact story that you'd like to share, we're we're looking for it to fill this page up. That's the great thing about websites. The pages are indefinite. Just want to remind you about Snack Pack. There's a link here. It'll take you directly to the Flip Give program that helps support the Snack Pack program. And if you have any questions about that, again, you can contact either the office or you can contact me. Let's see. In the membership section, excuse me, besides having, describing who IODE is and what we do, we have echoes. And we have past issues of echoes, digital copies. They only go back to January 2007. So if you're looking for an older issue and don't have a copy, or you'd like to print out a copy, they can be downloaded from the website and be distributed. Let's see what else. Okay. Let's go to the members resource section. I was in there already this morning, so the password's already been put in and it takes me directly to here. We've tried to put items that you're looking for on the front. There's a menu here. There's a menu across the top. The new thing is that we all want to find at the moment are the primary annual reports. They've all been uploaded and ready for your chapter to use. Under the welcome section, this is where we put all these Zoom workshops that we've been doing the last few weeks. So if you want to take a look at what the other, if you haven't had a chance to attend them, they're all here. And the citizenship and this one, and tomorrow is citizenship. Pardon me, membership was yesterday. So those three will be added on very soon. What was the other thing I wanted to? Any questions so far? No?
Oh, I have one. I have one. We're supposed to keep our IOD, whatever, our password. We're supposed to keep that secret, but how do we let our people know if we don't write it down, send it to them? Or how
That's
secret
right.
is it?
That's right. You will have to share it amongst the members.
But we'd pretty much have to do that in person. So, because if we don't want to write it anywhere, as in an email.
Well, yeah, we're not holding state secrets here.
Okay.
Let's put it that way. It's more or less, these are working tools that are needed for the chapters and the members to use within their chapter. They're not necessarily things that need to be on the public part of the website. And we have to have some privileges of membership also, don't we? Under members resources, we've got a little page here for fundraising. These are some suggestions that perhaps you might be interested in doing. The forms, certificates, they're all downloadable, or you can contact the national office and one of the, it's usually Mary who will help fill it in for you and send it off to you this section here. It's for all the officers. If you're need any support or information to help make your role a little easier, those resources are there. And of course, our Constitution, there's copies of the Constitution and bylaw number 1.
Renata, do you think there ever will be a page with all the chapter names and the say president or even chapter name, website, Facebook, sort of that sort of thing?
If there's someone willing to keep it up to date, there could be.
Okay. Would
More or less
we have,
something for, like for you, for instance, if you wanted to contact Stacy's chapter, for instance, type of thing, that you, something like that.
mhm.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yes, yeah.
It's also nice to have those to be able to make sure your chapter is following all of the chapters on all the various platforms and things like that, so we can sort of cross promote each other.
Mhm.
I mean, I try and do that when I can. I try and like everyone's chapters post and, you know, share them if it makes sense and that kind of thing, just so that we can sort of increase what's being, I know with algorithms and things like that, the more likes and shares things get, the higher it goes on people's algorithms, so that they'll see it, and hopefully more people will become aware of the work that's being done.
We, at one time, we did have a chapter or a list of the chapters, and but it was the part to keep them up to date with contact information. The chapters that had either social platforms or websites, that was simple enough, because we don't like to, people change and change their roles.
Mhm.
And an IODE is pretty low on the list when you're updating information, you know, unless you have someone in the chapter to make sure that it's dedicated. That was the only problem we found, was to keep things confidential and simple enough to keep up to date. But again, this is something that we can discuss in a communications committee. I think it's a good idea.
Maybe if each communication provincial, if each provincial communications officer did a composite of the reports that she received and just put the chapter name, the website, Facebook, or what other social media they had, and on one page, and sent it to you, then you could compile it easily by doing copy and paste from all the different provinces.
Yeah, if we have it in the member resources section, it's simple enough to do, because I mean, again, it's confidential in there. The page that we used to have was on the public website. And that's where I was talking about, was trying to keep it updated. But with it being a generic, if a chapter had a generic email address, that's simple enough. You know,
Yeah.
those things are really easy.
Mhm.
That way we don't have to worry about someone's email getting hacked or
Right.
Yeah.
compromised. So yeah, I'll put it, it's on the list. Any other questions or comments? I know I went through these forms really quick.
I just have a question about LinkedIn.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
But I would like, just sort of in my field working at the university, a lot of people do use LinkedIn, and I would love to be able to show like the connection that I have to IOD on LinkedIn, but I know there was trouble with the person who owned the account or something like that.
She's deceased. So we don't have access to the LinkedIn account, IOD Canada LinkedIn account. Um, yeah, I'll have to think about that one a little bit more because we can't deactivate them, can we?
Is there a way to contact like LinkedIn and get, because I know people have done that with Facebook accounts and things like that, like change the ownership of them when stuff like that's happened. I wonder if there's any way. I think if someone from National was to contact LinkedIn, you probably could be able to get the ownership transferred because it's a legitimate organization. It's not just, some made up thing. It's kind of important, I think, that it's held by somebody.
I will do that. It's on the list.
Thank you.
Thank you. Because if we know that there are people that will use it, we will make that effort because without feedback on anything, we don't know at National if we're going in the right direction or if it's the right thing that the chapter is needing. So we need feedback. I got a few questions from people that registered, and so I'll just go through that. Our chapter needs clarification for outside hours to what reporting to use this, like hours for communication, citizenship, and services. All right, so any volunteer hours. I know we're doing a service. Maybe you're taking some knitting over to the school or to a senior setting. Those are volunteer hours. Put it on the citizenship report. You're going off to the local school to present awards. Volunteer hours. Put it on the citizenship report. I know some of us have people who come, friends of IODE, who come out and help. Those are non-member volunteer hours. I believe there's a section in the citizenship report for non-member volunteer hours. If they're not counted elsewhere, count them on our citizenship report. I know it gets a little confusing for some chapters. They think that, okay, I'm doing an education thing here. It should be reported on the education report. No, please report it on the citizenship report. Donations. Why are the national donations, Canadian Disaster Fund, Services Fund, Snack Pack on several annual reports, such as the Treasurer's Report or the Services Report? Well, the national the national officers don't see your primary chapter treasurer's report. It's confidential. Only the national treasurer sees it and the auditors will see it. So we don't have access to knowing how much money you spent in services or education or your communications. So that's why the dollar amounts in those annual reports are asked for. Looking now, here I need help with. Looking for ideas to include more members in planning events, suggesting new ways to gain members. How can we get contribution or how can we get donations from outside groups to support our initiatives? I forgot to show you something on the website. Under the 125th anniversary is the logo, the 125th anniversary logo, which you can download and use. And this is the annual meeting logo, embracing our future, celebrating our past. We also have these logo pins. If you were at the National Annual Meeting in Charlottetown, you got a pin. You can purchase some from the national office. We've got book stickers. They're beautiful little 2-inch silver foiled book stickers that you can use on books that you're donating in your community. And of course, every book needs a book plate. And they can be downloaded and filled in. You can either fill them in with your own personal name or with your chapter name. And the bookmarks. We've got bookmarks that you can use. Excuse me, this morning, one of the ladies on this morning's call, she said she had some bookmarks and she was at an event last evening, nothing to do with IODE, and she threw up a few bookmarks on all the tables and thinking, well, somebody's going to contact us and ask all about us. And everybody can use a bookmark. And of course, the golf shirts from IODE Alden House with the 125th anniversary. Also in this part, we've put in a part here. Perhaps you need help with asking for the testimonial in your community from someone that you have helped. It could be that little boy that you paid for his swimming lessons and he's gone on to become an Olympic gold medal winner. Or perhaps it was the community center and you helped furbish the kitchen there. Get a testimonial of how your chapter has made an impact. And there's a guide, a how-to guide there that you can download. We've been asked for how do you write a letter to individuals or businesses for a donation. And we've got, they're not templates, they're suggestions on how to write a letter that we're calling the ask letter, to ask for a donation or to help with a cause. And we've included a template, an IODE template that you're free to use for your chapter. I forgot to mention that. So that's one way of helping to get contributions from outside your community. But what would you suggest for members to get the rest of the chapter engaged? No ideas? We're all stumped. Helen?
You have to be visible. You have to be visible in the community. You have to let people know that IODE is still there. I was amazed this morning. I was at my little hairdresser down the road, the plumber's wife, and there was another lady there getting her haircut. And she turned to me and said, how or where did the IODE get the bench that we donated to the veterans last week? And so, just the fact that she recognized me as an IODE person, I thought, wow, I don't know this lady, but she recognized me as an IODE person from being visible, that sort of thing. But the other thing is, if you do things in your community, advertise it. We put it on our Facebook. We put it on our website. We just keep bragging and bragging and bragging. And you can tell by the way I talk that, that we just talk about IODE all the time. I often wear my IODE shirt that I have on. I wear it golfing. I wear it grocery shopping. I just wear it all the time. So yes, brag about IODE and people get to ask questions, etc.
So how do you get your chapter members as enthusiastic as you are?
We have a volunteer coordinator for our chapter. Now, our chapter is a little different. We've got 40 members in our chapter. And like next Friday, we're doing butter tarts. So our volunteer coordinator has sent out a sheet, a list of saying, okay, I need 5 people to make dough. I need 5 people to do pressing. I need, and then you have to sign your name up. And if you can't do it, then that's fine. But if you haven't volunteered for a while, that's when she calls on you and says, I noticed that you haven't been volunteering very much. Are you okay? How's etc. Could you do this? In fact, we've even asked past members to help us out in different things like this. And say, we're doing butter tarts or we're doing apple pie. Can you come and help us? And they will. Yes. So you have to ask them, because if you don't ask, they won't. They'll sit
Volunteer.
back. Yes.
They
you have
won't
to ask.
volunteer. Yeah.
And
to
the
ask.
key
And
to that is getting together and having fun
just like
Exactly.
as a group, right?
Mhm. Like
Yeah.
you 3 are.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No, but even if you've got a very senior member and she's got limited mobility, perhaps she could be the one that makes the phone calls or writes the letters. We have to, each one of us has strong suits and we need just to tap into our limitations of what we can do. And yeah, not everybody is outgoing and willing to volunteer. I always say I got into this position because I forgot to step back. Everybody else in the line stepped back, and I just stood
Right.
there.
Yeah.
So, those little things happen. Well, Madam President, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you for coming and participating. And I'm not really ready to say very much right now because my 250-year-old well just gave up the ghost.
Oh, no.
no.
Well, if there's no further questions, thank you. Valerie.
Yeah, okay. I have this handy, it's called a keyboard notepad. And you
Yeah.
see it there. And I got free samples from a friend of mine who works for Burke Printers. And I look at it all the time and I think, I wonder if that would be something that could be done for IODE. And then this year, the 125th, have the logos on it. So this is just their generic, their generic logo. I can't remember how much they cost, but I use this all the time. You can see that's a fairly new one, but I write little notes on it as things pop into my head. So I've got check PC, something to date, my Shaw bill, Cuts Facebook page. So as I'm going through my day,
So,
as
and
things pop
there's-
into my head, I can write it down on this until they
So
get put somewhere else.
Valerie,
Yeah.
there's notes inside, like paper to make notes. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Understanding what this is.
Okay. So this fits under your laptop or whatever you have. And there's pages and you can rip
Oh,
when you're done with them.
okay. I understand because yeah, I just have an old-fashioned notepad that I have.
Yeah.
But
Well,
but that you put right underneath your keyboard. Yes.
yeah. So this part goes under the keyboard, and then this part sticks out so you can write things on it.
That might make a good fundraiser for IOD Alberta.
Yeah, I'll have to look into how much it cost, because I've
Yeah.
got the free samples. I think I did look into it once upon a time, but then abandoned it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Anyway, I find it really, really handy.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, if you have any additional questions, I love hearing comments because I need feedback. And we're together in this. And thank you for your time and for attending. And if you, as I said, if you need me, you know where to find me. You either have my email or you can contact me through the national office. So thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Renata.
Thank you,
Good work,
Jane.
good workshop. Thank you for showing us the web.